Hello guys, Mike here, and this is the video review for the Samsung Galaxy S3. First of all, you should know that this SGS3 is Samsung's new flagship, a follow-up for the popular Galaxy S2. It has to face tough competitors like the HTC One X, the Sony Xperia S or the iPhone 4S, so let's see if this device is a proper match for those. You'll notice that the Samsung Galaxy S3 is massive. Luckily, the SGS3 is pretty sleek, as you can see here, measuring only 8.6mm in thickness and weighing about 130 grams. There's a 4.8-inch screen on the front face, and in order to accommodate that, Samsung had to make a large phone, one that most users will hardly be able to use comfortably with only one hand. And there's another aspect. The glossy plastic on the back of this phone makes the whole thing incredibly slippery, so you should be careful with it. I doubt you'd like to drop it. The Galaxy S3 comes in two colors, blue and white. We have the white version here, and it definitely looks stylish with these silver straps on the sides. The entire case is made from glossy plastic, which makes the whole thing a bit cheap, while the upper face is completely covered in Gorilla Glass. Taking a look at the exterior, you'll notice on the front face that huge screen with a pretty tiny bezel. On top there's a speaker grill, a 720p front-facing camera, a luminosity and proximity sensor, and a notification LED. Below, you'll find a physical home button, which I find less comfortable to use than the round button on the iPhones. In fact, I think a haptic button would have been better suited here, but that's another story. You'll also find capacitive menu and back keys, but you should know that the back button is placed on the right side of the phone, and that might take some time to adapt to. On the back, there's the 8-megapixel camera with an LED flash and the speaker's grill. As for the sides, on top there's a microphone pin and the 3.5mm headset port. On the right there's the lock button, conveniently placed so you could press it with your right thumb. On the bottom there's the micro USB port used for charging the phone and connecting it to a computer, plus another microphone pin, and on the left there's the volume rocker. The plastic back cover is easily removable, and beneath it there's the battery, a micro SIM and a micro SD card slot. Yes, the cover is flexible, but I doubt it will break, so I don't see any reasons to complain about that. Overall, the Samsung Galaxy S3 felt good in my hand, although it is, like I said, too massive for my liking. That, combined with the fact that the back plastic face offers little to no grip, made me treat it extra carefully, as I felt it could easily slip through my fingers, at least for the first hours after I took it out of the box. Now let's get back to that screen. It's a 4.8-inch display, like I already said, with 1280 by 720 pixel resolution and a Super AMOLED panel. As a result, everything looks stunning on it, from images to movies, websites and texts. Yes, the screen on the SGS3 is pentile, but given the resolution, you'll hardly feel like the screen offered poorer images than the display you can get on the HTC One X or the iPhone 4S that use a regular sRGB matrix. In fact, Samsung used pentile screens on their Galaxy Nexus and Note, and I haven't heard anyone complaining about that. Perhaps the thing I enjoyed most on the Galaxy S3 is how smooth it runs during everyday use. The entire thing works just flawlessly. Navigating between apps and home screens is fast, and the smartphone never froze on me during the whole period of time I was playing with it. Plus, I encountered none of those characteristic Android hiccups that actually steered me towards an iPhone a while ago. The hardware inside the Samsung Galaxy S3 probably takes the credit for this, with an Exynos quad-core platform and 1GB of memory. In some countries, the S3 will also be available with a dual-core Snapdragon S4 platform and 2GB of memory. But the software has its merits too. My Samsung Galaxy S3 is running Android 4.0.4 with Touchwiz on top, and while in general Android skins tend to make the entire experience worse than what you get with stock Android, Samsung managed to do a pretty good job here with their Touchwiz Ui. Of course, Touchwiz brings a bunch of changes over stock Android and also replaces some of the standard Android apps with Samsung proprietary ones. You get some interesting widgets, a different dialing pan, a different notification panel with toggles for important functions like GPS, Wi-Fi, sound and others, and the battery indicator. The lock screen is slightly different as well, as you'll just have to swipe the display to unlock it. Or you can swipe on top of the apps at the bottom of the screen if you want to quickly access those ones. Samsung also pushes their motion features on the S3 that allow you to call a contact by simply putting the phone to your ear, putting the ringer when turning the phone upside down, or just keep the screen alive as long as the camera on top detects that your eyes are looking at it. And yes, these are not necessarily new features on smartphones, but it's nice to see them implemented on the SGS3. Samsung also brings in S-Voice, which works alright, I'd say, even if you have an accent like I do. It's just a bit too slow though. How's the weather today?
Very hot today. The current temperature is 21 degrees.
What's the capital of Pakistan?
Islamabad. F.C.
There's also the S Planner, which is Samsung's version of Calendar, and that looks a lot different than the regular Android app, but you'll like it once you get used to it. And then you have the S Memo that you can use for sketches and notes or Samsung's proprietary app store. Speaking of apps, while Google Play still has its issues and lacks proper organization, you'll find most of the needed apps in there. And unlike what you can find on Apple stores, most of them are cheaper or even free. There are still some specific apps that are just better implemented on iOS though. The Samsung Galaxy S3 can handle multimedia content and games. There's a pair of nice headphones in the pack, the music app is quite cool, and adding content to your phone is incredibly easy, like with all Android devices. Movies will play even with the standard multimedia player, including 1080p titles. Playing clips from YouTube or other sources ain't a problem either. And there's also this nice feature that allows you to watch a clip in a tiny screen while performing other tasks like browsing or navigating through the screen, but only works with the native media app. As for games, you'll find a bunch of them in Google Play, but the offer for quality titles designed for high-resolution displays is still quite limited. Of course, this phone had no problems with taking calls and it didn't lose signal, not even when in crowded areas. It's also suitable for messaging thanks to the big screen that makes typing comfortable even for those of you with bigger hands. And then there's the camera, which I can say it's quite good on the S3. Can't say that it's better or not than the one on the iPhone or on the One X, but I can say that they are pretty close. The 8 megapixel pics are looking good, but if you want wide pictures you will only get 6 megapixel stills. The interface is pretty standard, there are plenty of settings and filters to play with, and the camera can also take burst shots or panoramas. As for the videos, you get 1080p 30 frames per second clips and they're not bad at all. In fact, I'm quite confident this camera can replace your holiday point and shoot without a problem and will take good pics and clips as long as there's enough light around. The battery life on the Samsung Galaxy S3 is quite impressive, as I was able to push it for an entire day and still had something left in the evening, which does not happen on the HTC One X or the iPhone 4S. With sporadic daily use, the S3 will actually be able to last for about 2 days on a single charge, which isn't bad at all for a top smartphone like this one. In terms of prices, the Samsung Galaxy S3 sells for about 600 euros without a contract, but I'm sure most of you will buy it from the local operators, subsidized and bundled with different plans. In the US, you can get the Samsung Galaxy S3 from all the major carriers, including Sprint, Verizon or T-Mobile. In the end, the Samsung Galaxy S3 is for sure a proper flagship in Samsung's arsenal. With its massive screen and body, it might not be suited for all of you, but if you can deal with the size and you're into Android, this is definitely good. Yes, there are things some of which would have been done in a different way on this smartphone, but that's always the case with highly anticipated devices, they can't satisfy everyone. iPhone 1 liked the screen, the slim body, the snappy daily performances and the good battery life. I'm still not completely fond of Android as an iOS daily user, but that's another story. Plus, I would have enjoyed the rubbery back panel on the SGS3 that would have provided better grip, so I won't feel like I could drop the phone every 10 seconds or so. That's about it with this quick video review of the Samsung Galaxy S3. I hope you enjoyed this clip, so don't forget to subscribe and share it to your friends if you did. Till next time, Mike out.